Hello everyone, welcome to Key Lessons for a Digimon deck profile. This is a deck that is fun and thematic more than it is meta relevant, but it is a lot of fun, and when it does go off, it goes off very well. So I'm calling this deck Bunny Stun, as it is based around two rabbit Digimon, Angoramon and Terriermon, and it's all about doing things that suspend your opponent's Digimon. So I'm really enjoying Ghost Game, so I like all the characters in it, which is Angoramon, Gamamon, and Jellymon. So I wanted to build a deck around Angoramon, and as I looked at what his cards do and looked around at what could support it, Terriermon from EX2 was the obvious choice. So let's get into the deck profile. For my level 2s, I've gone 2 Gamamon. 2 is probably enough. This deck ends up drawing a lot, so you get to the point where you're going to regret putting in too many cards that draw because you might deck out. So 2 Gamamon and 3 Bosamon. So obviously these are thematic choices. They're both the eggs for Terriermon and Angoramon, but they also work well with what this deck is trying to do. For the rookies, I have 4 copies of the BT10 Angoramon. So this one sits on your board, you play a tamer, and you get to draw a card. And then the inherited is when one of the opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw one. So like I said, a lot of drawing in this deck. 4 copies of the promo Angoramon. So this one just has the inherit, when attacking, if you have Ruri in play, gain a memory. A pretty good inherited because most likely you will have Ruri in play. 4 copies of the EX2 Terriermon. This one kind of does a similar thing to the Angoramon. Sit him on the board, play a tamer, and this one will gain you a memory. And then the inherited is when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gets 2,000 power for the turn. And then to round up Terriermons, I've thrown in 2 of the memory blockers. If you're finding that that's not very meta relevant, you could instead throw in this Terriermon, which is from set 8. On play, you may reveal top 5 cards of your deck and add 1 card with Gargamon or Rapidmon in its name. So that card's good as well. I just put in the memory blockers because it seemed pretty relevant at my locals lately. A lot of decks gaining memory without tamer effects. And then this isn't a rookie, but 3 Kalumon. So with Terriermon line, this card goes very well. It's easy to play him for the 1 memory. And then after that, it doesn't matter which line you're using. It just says when one of your Digimons digivolves, you may suspend this Digimon, gain 1 memory, draw 1 card, and then have one of your Digimon get 3,000 power for the turn. This deck is kind of like a champion / ultimate rush deck, so that power boost is pretty important. For my level 4s, they are thematic, as this deck is 3 copies of Simbear Angoramon, and this just has the inherited when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. So if you're stacking that with when attacking with the Angoramon inherited, you end up getting a lot of memory back. 3 copies of Gargomon. This Digimon is good because once you've digivolved into him, he has the ability to reduce the cost of the level 5 going on top of it. And then the inherited is when your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gains 2,000 power for the turn. And then I have at 4 copies Rapidmon. So this has got Armor Purge. It digivolves for 3 on a Terriermon. So there's 6 choices for Terriermon. And when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon for each tamer you have in play. And then up to 3 of your opponent's suspended Digimon gets minus 5,000 power per turn. This deck does have a fair few tamers, so this card ability it goes off. And then for my level 5s, 4 copies of Lamormon. So this is the ultimate for Angoramon, though I haven't seen him in Ghost Game yet, but I'm not up to date. And then when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then this Digimon can attack a suspended Digimon. When it deletes it, it will unsuspend. However, you need to make sure you have a tamer in play, otherwise you will lose 2 memory when you attack. 4 copies of the level 5 Rapidmon, and so this one, just when it digivolves, will suspend one of your opponent's Digimon if you have a marine tamer in play. And then the inherit is once per turn when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gains security attack +1. And then I only have 4 level 6s in this because, like I said, it's kind of like a champion / ultimate rush deck, but Occasionally, you will want to go a level beyond, and then we have Mega Gargomon, which is the ultimate for the Terriermon line. When it costs 5 to Digivolve, so that's a bit steep. But when Digivolving, for each green tamer you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and they don't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. And then when attacking, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with DP less than or equal than this Digimon DP to its owner's hand. Alright, Tamers, and like I said, there are a few. 4 copies of Ruri. So when you're attacking with Angoramon in the Inheritors, you'll suspend this and it'll get plus 3000 power for the turn. If you have all 4 of these on board, that's a very strong attack. If you really want to make sure the Ruri situation is consistent, you could go with this for your memory setter. But I've decided this works better. 3 copies of Henry Wong. So they do very similar things. Ruri will only suspend an opponent's Digimon with 5000 power or less, but it can be anything with Angoramon in its name, or a level 5 or higher. Whereas Henry Wong will suspend any of your opponent's Digimon, but only if you're attacking with something with Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name. In the end, I've decided Henry Wong is the more consistent choice, but like I said, they're pretty similar. And then 2 copies of Willis. So this card is from set 8. On play, you may hatch a Digi-Egg card to an empty space in your breeding area. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name, you may suspend this tamer to reduce the cost by 1. So that's really good, especially if you are Digivolving on top of Gargomon into Rapidmon. That will end up costing only 1 to Digivolve into a level 5. Or 0 if you have both of these on board. And then finally, I would have liked to fit this in at 4, but I have run out of room in the deck. There's only 2 cards left to go, and it is 2 copies of Pion Dump. So this one is an activate main that costs 2. One of your Digimon gains piercing for the turn. And then if you have an Angoramon in play or in your Digi-Evolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And then the security ability, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then add this card to your owner's hand. So that's like a better needle spray in a way. And so that is my Bunny Stun deck. If you like this deck profile, make sure to subscribe because soon I'll be putting out a Jellymon profile and a Gammamon profile to complete my Ghost Game deck set. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at HackyLessons, and I'll see you later on.